time you ask me about my brain pain, I tell you, take me to that place that we used to do. Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. Oh, 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 oh. Every time you ask me about my brain pain, I tell you, take me to that place that we used to do. Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. Oh, 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 oh.
Good morning to the early birds, good afternoon to the sleepyheads, good evening to the hustlers, and good night to the entrepreneurs. I'm not the best at what I do, but I love it, and I hope you do too. Today's guest is Walter Murphy. Walter, glad to have you on the show. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey, good afternoon, morning, evening, or whatever applies to whoever's listening to us, wherever they're listening to us from. And we're glad to be talking to you. My name's Walter Murphy, and I hail from Jacksonville, Florida, since 1988, by way of Daytona Beach, Florida. So I'm a Florida boy all my life, and I say boy, I'm a senior citizen, but with the mind of a 16-year-old, and I'm kind of in the construction field, and that's what's keeping me young, I guess. Got to get out there with the youngsters, and as they build houses, I help put together some of the interiors, and kind of love what I do. No hobbies anymore. Golf was too frustrating. Motorcycles on the road were too dangerous. So my woodwork is my hobby, and I get paid for it. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
That's awesome. Couldn't help but to hear you say that you're a senior citizen.
I am well into my senior citizen years, but not feeling it.
And you're in the construction industry.
I am new home builds.
So I think you said you're a 16-year-old in mind. Did you say
Eh, on a
something like
good day.
that?
On a good.
Yeah, I think you're a 16-year-old physically too, because no senior citizen that I know, other than you, is doing construction.
Works like I do. I know we've done
Yeah,
it together, as the people will find out in later podcasts, perhaps. But we complement each other with youth and senior age.
yeah. I'll just say this: I only know one person that works harder than I do, and it's you. All
Uh,
right. So we're just going to get into a series of questions here. Feel free to say pass or that's not for me or whatever you feel like, and obviously answer the ones that you're kind to or you feel like answering or you love or whatever.
okay,
All
I'm,
right.
I'm 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 pretty good and open with anything. You hit me with what you got.
All right. Here we go. First one. What question do you wish you knew the answer to?
Okay, which question do I wish I knew the answer to? Why am I here?
That's such a good question, man.
I I
Um,
I, I asked. I God is probably going to be infused in a lot of my thinking or my answering. And, if I could, just ask him like a Catholic might go into a confessional, hey, Father, why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? So why am I here? That's one of my favorite questions. Why?
that's a great question. Do you have an answer?
I'm not the one with the answers. I got to look to the one that's got the answers. I'll let you
Any,
know when he tells me.
any theories? I mean, you're a senior, right?
Well, I'm a twice married with no children, And I think what I'm here to do, as I tell some of the youngsters that work around and with me, if I can impart my knowledge, things I've learned haphazardly, by mistake, on purpose, through repetition, if I can impart that to you, then a part of me is never going to die, even after I pass away this body.
Hmm. Interesting.
So
Yeah.
so it could be a tutorial teacher type of thing, is why I'm here.
All right. Well, I like it, and I certainly have a lot to learn, and I'm sure that most of our listeners do as well. And I appreciate you being here, and I think you have a lot to impart and contribute. So, good answer. Next one. What has been your greatest accomplishment?
Mm, 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 mm. I'm still waiting.
Okay.
I'm,
All
I'm
right.
still waiting for that to happen.
Yeah. Okay.
Nothing that
Good.
knocks my socks off. Nothing that I'm just slow and steady wins the race, and I try to be consistent with what I do. And maybe when I stand back every day and see what I've done, for people that I'll probably never ever even meet, what I do in my working life, I guess that's my accomplishment. My everyday just hustle and bustle. And but is there any one greatest thing? I can't say so.
I wonder if they've all been great and they just all seem mediocre to you.
Some are bigger, some are smaller,
Yeah.
like little miracles and big miracles, if there's such a thing as a little
True.
miracle.
Okay. Um, moving right along. Do you consider yourself to be successful?
Semi. In a word, I would say semi. Like I said, I have little miracles that I see myself perform out there, as well as bigger miracles with laying of my hands on my work pieces. And when I look back on it, it's like I don't feel great, but I know there's a greatness imparted in me to do a good job. And I used the word consistent before, so I consistently do uh, successful work.
Well, then, okay, I could see why you answer that way. You said you don't feel good. What you mean? What do you mean?
I guess I've been doing what I've been doing so long, nothing really jumps out at me and says, wow, that's fantastic. It's not like, I do everyday sort of stuff. It's not like
Right.
I'm working in mansions and like, wow, I did all that. Well, so
Okay.
I'm just semi successful.
All right. I see. I see what you mean by you didn't feel good. Okay. Um. Okay. I guess we'll have to do a part two for when you reach that great accomplishment and consider yourself to
Yeah.
be a 100% success.
I'm
All
afraid,
right.
I'm afraid of that.
All right. Next, do you believe in life after death? And if so, what does that look like for you?
Wow. Do I believe in life after death? I believe there's something in me. Yes, I believe in life after death, definitely. And as this body wastes away, as we age and pass on, all I see is a youthful, healthy, happy soul or spirit in eternity.
Okay. Hmm. All right. What do you like? I guess no one really knows for sure, right?
Well, your faith can propel you into believing that it's going to be so.
Okay. That's I'm glad you brought that up because that leads nicely into the next question, which is, do you think what you believe will impact what will happen after death?
Oh yes, I believe
Hmm.
that my faith is going to carry me on to a glorious forever after. where there'll be no tears, no pain, no suffering. As I said, it would look like a youthful, healthy, happy, what was Walter's conscious on planet Earth.
Yeah. Um. So do you believe that? Let's say I didn't believe that. That there is life after death. I'm not saying I do or don't, but let's just hypothetically, if I said I didn't, do you believe that my belief or my lack of belief in the afterlife would impact my what happens to me after I die?
Yes.
Okay, interesting. So faith or belief based. Okay, good. So I imagine that I probably know the answer to the next question, but do you believe in God?
I would have to answer that with a capital Y, capital E, capital S. And the reason I say that is we're talking on a phone, right?
Yes.
That phone didn't just materialize for this podcast. It was built by a builder. Everything you see had to be built at some point or another. So if you have an instrument, a tool, a thing, it just didn't happen. If there's a creation, there has to be a creator. I'm a creation. I was created somehow, some way. If you want to say it was by my mother and my father, there was something in my father, something in my mother that caused the two of them to make me. But there had to be something to make them and their fathers and mothers to the beginning of time. And how did that happen?
Hmm.
I have to believe that uh, everything in this world that you see, breathe, eat was created. So there has to be a creator, God.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Have you ever had a life after death experience?
Yes, I, I,
Really?
I can see it just as clearly right now as when it happened to me on Saturday, March 29th, 1980 at 7 a.m. in the morning as I was struck by a speeding ambulance as I was going through a green light. I didn't even see it at the time. I woke up under intense bright lights thinking I had passed through this world and was in heaven,
Yeah.
only to find out I was in the emergency room of a hospital and that not one of my bones was broken, where both the ambulance and my old 1960s car was just demolished. And I thought I was waking up, in another realm.
Huh. Uh, how is it that we've known each other this long, and this is the first I'm hearing about this?
Well,
I guess I never asked, huh?
yeah, it was a quiet Saturday morning. I didn't even have a radio in this old hand-me-down family car, and I was going through um, an intersection back where I'm from in Daytona Beach, and ambulance was coming to a hospital north of me, and it ran a red light while a nurse going to a hospital that I was born at in Daytona Beach was going the opposite direction, and she saw the whole thing. And yeah, it took out the ambulance and my car and knocked me out. The only time I've ever been knocked out. And I used to be a rough and tumble guy as a
Yeah.
policeman in Daytona Beach, and yep, it got. I, I I might as well thought I could have been dead when I woke up in the hospital. I had no idea being transported there, no idea that I was being stripped for examination in the emergency room to be x-rayed. And yeah, it just yep. It's funny, you know people for a long time, but you don't know everything because
Yeah.
there's as it's been said, or some people might know, there's three sides to a person: their public life, their private life, and then their secret life. So, it's like all the knowledge that you've gained from the time you're born till the time you die is going to be just a very small thumbnail sketch of everything there is to know in the world. So take it all in as much as you can and learn from it. That's called experience.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Didn't know. I guess, maybe I can talk a little more in detail about that later. And then maybe we'll add some more of that content to the part 2. All right, next question. If they told you that they could download your consciousness onto a hard drive, would you do it?
Yes. Would this be like to cryogenically freeze my head so I could get a new body and live on a second time?
The concept, the idea is, I guess at some point prior to death, obviously, they would download who you are, essentially, basically like a digital copy of your brain. You know what I mean? Your memories, supposedly your consciousness, but I honestly don't know anything about that as far as whether or not it's actually able to be done. I'm sure there's someone out there that has tons of information and details about that, and I'd love to have them on the show and pick their brain over that. But that's essentially the idea. Prior to death, download basically who you are onto a hard drive so that you could continue to exist as sort of either a computer or in a robot, or something like that.
Yes.
Okay, so you wouldn't be opposed to just dying, or I should say, you wouldn't be opposed to potentially living forever.
I already believe I'm going to live forever, but not in human form, not in humanoid form.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
that if I could download that consciousness and it could have like an appendix or an index, and somebody could pick out the best parts of, this was Walter in 1980, this was Walter in 1990, this is what Walter did in 2000, and it would help
Yeah.
somebody. Sure, download my consciousness.
But what if you were able to be like who you are now, but just in like a digital format, like I guess, essentially kind of like a robot, but you were able to consciously, exist and interact with people. Like I said, essentially live on, not in a theoretical form, but more like you are right now, just without a physical body. Your body would be, a machine of some sort.
Like iRobot?
Yeah, yeah, kind of
Yeah,
like that.
maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know
All right.
after all. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm afraid that would put me in the place. If I could make that decision, I'm thinking that's not the way life is supposed to be. I'm thinking that's not the way God made me, to be a
Yeah.
robot.
Okay. All right. Good. Have you ever had a paranormal encounter?
I should look up paranormal. I have weird dreams, places I go at night, and
Hmm.
people I see that I've never seen, that I like. Like you'll see an actor on TV. I know that actor's been in something else. What else have they been in? I
Hmm.
see this person in my dreams. I know that person, but I don't know that person. And it's like, is this weird? Am I seeing things in the future? People I'm gonna meet, and then
Yeah.
I'll see somebody in a store, a restaurant, someplace, and I go, "Have we met before?" And it's like I've seen it before. It's kind of like deja vu. or seeing a doppelganger. Like if you ever met somebody that looked like the exact, like if I met somebody that looked like you, I'd say, "Hey, Nelson." They go, "My name's Bob." And it's just, I have those kind of weird experiences from time to time in
Yeah.
dreams. And
Right.
then meeting that person out on the street somehow, some way.
Interesting. What about ghostly, spirits, any type of, experiences related to that, like, either seeing apparitions or, or whatever, have anything like that, like, seeing ghosts or seeing things move with, no apparent reason. Have you ever experienced anything like that?
No, but I believe in it.
Okay. Okay.
I don't have to see it like a dinosaur to believe in it.
Right.
I don't have to meet Jesus in the flesh to believe in him. But if other people have had this experience, it doesn't hurt me
Sure.
to believe what they tell me. It doesn't
So
take away anything from me. If they had that experience, they probably had it for a reason.
yeah. Have you ever, looked into any of that, or seen anything, or known anyone that experienced anything like that?
Well, I believe I saw a possessed person when I was a policeman.
Oh
We got
wow.
a call that somebody was armed and dangerous, and there was a lady in a darkened house holding a Bible in one hand and a big pair of tailor shears in another one, big pair of scissors in a stabbing fashion, and just giggling hideously. And the kids were being held by an adult in the far side of the house for their safety, and that was the adult that called it for for the safety of the other people in the house. And I was very young and physically fit, out of high school a couple years, and it was probably a middle-aged black woman, and I had a sergeant with me, and we tried to apprehend her, and she was tremendously strong. We called for an ambulance to take her to a hospital for a mental wellness check. We didn't have those sort of things really back then when I was on in the 70s. But we tried to strap her down to a gurney in the ambulance, and she was so strong, she took me and an ambulance attendant almost out the back door of a moving ambulance. So I knew there was some kind of supernatural strength to this female human being that
Yeah.
I can't explain. So I know that I've laid hands on something that wasn't naturally human.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I guess that qualifies. How about aliens? Do you believe in aliens? Do you think they exist?
Little green men from Mars, things like
Yeah.
that, flying
Yeah,
saucers.
or gray, or reptilians, or anything like that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Why not? Look up in the heavens. Look at all the stars. How many planets must be orbiting up there besides us? Millions, billions. If it could happen here on this blue planet, why not somewhere else?
Sure. I agree. Yeah, the universe is too vast, you know.
To contain only us.
Yeah, I mean, it would be at least logically thinking, without any evidence, it would almost seem ridiculous, to think that they didn't. So,
That we're here
but,
all alone?
yes, I agree. All right, here's one. Hopefully, it's not a curveball. Do you think the Earth is flat or spherical?
Hello?
Can you hear
Hello?
me?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Who is this? Who is this? Was this a real question I just heard? Yeah.
Yes.
Did I say blue planet or blue sphere? I didn't say blue plate, did I? Do you think people think the Earth is still flat? I mean, is it? Aren't we past the 1500s?
Yeah.
Do they know what an
Yes.
equator is?
Do
It's
they?
kind of like a belt around the fat part of the fat man. I mean, the fat Earth. I guess my answer would be, yeah, it's round-ish. Definitely not
Yeah.
flat.
Okay. Fair
Yeah.
enough. If you could live forever, would you?
Here I am playing God with my own self again. I see these movies with vampires and stuff, and what do you do when you're a 20-year-old vampire or 18-year-old vampire just graduated from high school? You get a job, work for 40 years, retire, and you still look like you're 18. I mean,
Yeah.
do you age? I mean, and then in the next century, when you're 118, what do you look like? Do you look like a 118-year-old going to apply for an entry-level job? And how do you get around that? Or do you just change your name and apply for a new social security number? And how would you do that? Do you have any idea? I don't know. I
Uh,
think it's your destiny to be born and then to die. So I don't. I'm thinking like downloading of the conscience and stuff and putting it in a robot. I'd be playing, wanting to play God and live forever.
yeah. I guess
So
since. Yeah. Go ahead.
I guess I don't want to live forever
Okay.
in this
So you're
body way.
so are you afraid of dying?
Am I afraid of dying?
Yes.
No. You
Okay.
know why?
Why?
Because for the same reason, I'm not afraid of Monday. You know what happens Monday?
Life
A
goes
lot,
on.
a lot of people got to go back to work, and you know what's going to happen? That's not going to stop Monday.
Yeah.
Being afraid of dying is not going to stop dying. Being afraid of Monday, Monday's coming up on the calendar. Everybody has a date with destiny. Everybody has a date with the Reaper. Everybody's going to see it. You're not getting out of here alive. I'm not afraid of dying.
All right. Fear nothing. Okay. What is a lesson you've learned that you wish everyone knew?
I wonder if anybody's ever heard the saying, two ears, one mouth, or two eyes, one mouth. You can hear and see better than you can talk. I I
Mm.
I watch a lot of podcasts myself, and one of my fans, one of my favorite guys from Shark Tank, he says he's got a little snippet that says, if you could tell somebody a good trait to have, it would be to shut up and listen.
Yeah.
Or you think they're listening to that? Did they hear that?
Here, what did you say? What was the last thing you said?
Did they hear that? Everybody out there?
Shut up and listen?
Yeah,
I think so.
they can learn something.
Okay.
And then if they have any questions, let me understand this. You told me to shut up and listen, so you could explain how you're going to put in my new kitchen in my new house and do it beautifully. Yes, that's what I'm explaining to you. This is
Okay.
how this is how it goes in. Shut up and
All right.
listen.
That's
Somebody
good.
might know more than you.
Okay. This next question is along the same lines. Just maybe looking for a different answer here. What is something that you would like people to know, either about you, or anything, or both? In other words, maybe a story you've always wanted to share, but you never really had the opportunity or the platform. You know what I mean? Like some people, they have social media channels that they'd love to grow, so they have something to share there. Or some people have a story that they've just been dying to tell someone but never had anyone ask them. Is there anything like that you'd like to share?
I don't think I really do. It's
Okay.
just
Yeah.
day is just a new little adventure. Some of the same, a little different, but no, nothing
Okay.
I have been doing the same thing of over and over for years. Kind of a kind of like a muscle memory thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good. What is the best thing that's ever happened to you?
A marriage.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, I didn't expect that. Um, any details, or should we move on to the next question?
Had some different girlfriends here and there,
Yeah.
and they weren't the one. And when you find the one and you get married, that's he who finds a wife finds a good thing.
Okay. I like it. It's good, man. What about the worst? What's the worst
Well,
thing?
that kind of has to do with wives too. Since I've had the worst thing is probably a divorce.
Mm.
You wreck your life, you wreck her life, uh, you wreck her family's life, you wreck your family's life, your mother, father, siblings on your side. No matter who was at fault. Um, I think there was an old song by J.D. Souther. She gets the house and the car. He gets the this and the that. I can't remember the name of the song. I'm usually good with that, but you know, you lose your mutual friends. Her friends stay her friends. Your friends stay your friends, and your your social friends, are no longer. So you lose a lot. You lose a lot in a divorce, and that's probably the worst thing that's happened to me.
And that's without kids.
Without kids, never
Yeah.
had it. So
Could you imagine how
nope,
much worse with
don't
kids?
don't want to.
Okay. All right. Good answers, Walter. Good. Um, so this one's kind of along the same lines as what is the worst, but not quite. What is something you wish that you could change about your past?
Well, let's see. I'm still working on it now, so it's still in my present. My bad temperament and patience. My wife now says, "You need patience." I said, "I'm not a doctor. I don't want patience." She goes, "Not that kind of patience." Yeah, I
Mm,
just need to, and I'm slowing down with getting angry about things because, as I tell people a lot of times, it's going to be 5 o'clock somewhere sometime, and this day's not going to last forever. And if you goof something up, you can get another thing to replace it or fix it. It's not the end of the world, but I'm harder on myself than anybody else because I feel like I should do better with everything I do.
yeah.
Yeah, temper and patience. That's something I wish I could change. I remember
Huh.
cussing out cars while I worked on them, and they never got upset with me. I just got upset with them.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even know that you were impatient, or got angry unjustly, or too soon. I don't know. Anyway,
Me, patient. Are
um,
we about done with this?
you
Okay, never mind.
you need patience.
Yes.
All right, here's one that's a little far out there,
You
but
got you
nice to dream it.
got questions here so far. You're making me really scratch my head.
Well, that's good. All right, if someone gave you $10 million, what would you do with it?
I'd take it
That's
right away.
good, man.
No
That's good.
questions asked. What would what does you know? You ever you ever go driving around this big city that we live in and you see people on the corner with cardboard signs?
Yes, a lot more now recently than in the years past. But yes.
Do you believe they're for real?
Oh no.
Do you believe some of them are in need?
I mean, honestly, no. No, and if there were any, it would be one out of 1,000 or 10,000. It would be,
Really? Well, I
I
see
believe, very few.
I see some skinny ones out there, and the sign usually reads, "Will work for food."
Yeah.
So that $10 million, if I invested it and used the proceeds to help fund a food bank to feed the legitimately hungry, it kind of mirrors a story that I once read where like thousands of people gathered and there was only just a few fish and a couple loaves. But by the blessing of $10 million, or I don't think they counted it like that. The
Hmm.
story I read was about 2,000 years old. This blessing was poured out on these fishes and these loaves, and that $10 million fed all these hungry people. So it's like people aren't going to be thinking of anything else but their hunger. So they might not be prone to listening to you if you said, "Here, I'm holding my hand out with a blessing for you." And if they just see an empty hand, they're not going to understand it. But somebody used to feed the poor and the masses before he could tell them about his love for humanity. So I think I would make sure that as many people as I could feed, I would feed that were genuinely hungry.
I like it.
Can I put in a Rodney Dangerfield joke?
Please do.
Okay, so I see a lot of Rodney Dangerfield online, a lot of times with Johnny Carson. May they both rest in peace. And Rodney sees somebody out there with a sign, you know, will work for food. And uh, he goes, you know, they're, he thinks he's giving some money, and they're gonna. He says, I'm gonna mess this joke up. I should have left it to the professional comedians, but they wanted to buy some alcohol, and he was going to give them the money, but he said, "I'm just afraid you're going to go buy some food with it instead." And yeah, that's why people don't give. And I do remember a time where I was at an intersection on a major highway, and the guy flips the sign over as I'm drinking a roadie on the way home from a construction site. He flips the sign over, and it says, "I need a beer." And if I wasn't on my last beer, I would have probably given it to him. But that was a guy probably not in need of your food money. But with the money, I think it'd be good to feed people, and that would be my answer if I was going to be Miss USA.
Well done. Standing ovation.
Yeah.
I like it, man. Good answer. Charitable contributions. Nothing wrong with that. Especially $10 million worth. All right. Speaking of money, do you hold any
I do not.
cryptocurrencies? You
I
don't.
do not.
Any particular reason why? I mean, you don't have to answer.
I don't understand it. I,
Okay.
I listen to investors all the way up to Warren Buffett, and he says if you don't understand it, don't put your money in it. So I haven't heard enough convincing to want to get involved with that.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Next question. If you could invent something that would change the world, what would it be?
That sounds like a Eric Clapton song, like it changed the world.
You want to sing it?
No, no. How about how about a miracle drug? How about
Okay.
if we were able to bypass big pharma and you could have something just so simple like water to wine to cure the masses cheaply without big drug companies becoming involved and the government becoming involved and having to approve that, and you know a drug that could cure cancer, a drug that could cure AIDS, a drug that could cure sickle cell, a drug that could cure hemorrhoids, whatever. Just, like I want to be happy and healthy forever and well fed as I already am. And I think every person deserves the right to be able to try to get that in their own life. Because if they're not able to do that, how are they going to reach a hand out and help out somebody else that's not as fortunate as them?
Okay. That's a very unique answer to that question, and I like it. Next question. Who has made the biggest impact on your life?
Jesus.
All right. And what's a dream you've been putting off?
Oh my gosh. I could be head of the Procrastinators Association of America. So I'll say what I've been putting off is not dreaming big enough and sooner. Doing what I'm doing now. If I'd have done it back in my 20s, I would probably retire or have sold the business that I'm in now.
Yeah.
Had I established myself sooner.
Okay. All right. And what is the hardest experience that you've had to endure?
Oh, what's the best thing to happen to me in marriage? What's the worst? A divorce. I'd have to say a divorce again in this case.
Okay. Yeah.
That's you know,
Yeah.
just,
Yeah, that's tough, man. What was
just
you said you were a cop, right?
right.
What was did you guys did you have to do any type of boot camp or anything like that prior to your service?
We, I went to college in Daytona Beach for that, and in spring of 1978, I was 19 when I was hired. I turned 20 in rookie school, and we had to have for state credentialing, I had to have 270 hours of college classes for that to be a sworn law enforcement officer, and I had been in the police explorers from 72 to 76 through high school, 9th through 12th grade, and I always thought I wanted to be a cop. But one of my uh, captains said something I should be a cabinet maker, so he prophesied to me back in the early 80s, and he's long since passed away. But I wished he was around. I could probably find his son if I wanted to and tell him what his father said to me years ago, and it's actually what I'm kind of doing now. So,
All right.
but that was just a little of my experience with being a policeman.
Yeah. So, I mean, was that difficult?
Being a
Going
policeman,
through. Yeah, like they have like a basic training of some sort, right? I mean, aside
right?
from the education.
Yeah, that was that.
Oh, okay.
And we had a pistol training by the FBI in Daytona
Ah,
Beach, and we had a vehicle pursuit course that we would learn how to handle police cars as we were in a chase and things like that. It wasn't only book learning. We had PT, physical training, so we would do that and learn hand to hand self defense and apprehending criminals.
nice. How long
So
did you do that for, Walter?
I only did it a couple of years. This automobile accident kind of took me out. I got a little bit of a disability
Okay.
from that, so it wasn't but a couple of years.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let's see. If what would you do if you knew you wouldn't fail?
A sure thing.
Yes. Like you just wouldn't fail. Like if what would you attempt if you knew that you'd make it no matter what?
I would have, knowing what I know now and doing what I do now, I would have probably gone for the whole enchilada. I would have probably been a custom home builder,
Okay.
a custom house builder,
Yeah.
because it's the people and what gets put into it is going to make the home. So I'm gonna make this house the best it could be for the people that are going to love being in it and making it a home for themselves.
All right. So custom home builder. Okay. If time travel were possible, when would you go?
You mean into the future or into the past?
Yes.
Oh, I would go back about 2,000 years to the Middle East.
Nice. Walk the streets with
With the Lord.
Christ. Yeah.
Right. That's what I'd do. I think he would strike. I tell my wife, I think it goes along with the shut up and listen. I'm afraid though, if I hung out with him, he would strike me mute. He goes, I know what's going to happen now. I know what's going to happen now. There's going to be a guy in a tree, and you're going to like sell all your possessions, and he's telling me, shut up. I played out the scenario in my head, and I go, I know what you're going to do. I know what you're going to do. I get rid of that Judas guy. He's a backstabber. Yeah, he probably wouldn't let me go back in time to do that. He goes, you're blowing my gig. I got 3 years to do this, and then I got to get through this and get resurrected and all that stuff. And you're blowing my gig, Walter. You're my son, and I love you, but you're going to either have to go back to Pharaoh's time or go to Star Trek time.
Oh my God. Okay. Something tells me that you've been waiting for someone to ask you that question.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Why not?
Oh my God.
I
That's
have
so
no
funny.
other. I don't want to go back to the plagues. I don't want to go back to Columbus because I'm already here. He's going to discover the new world. I've been in it. I want to know the old world.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I think that's the best answer so far. That's hilarious. All right. What are you excited about?
Waking up every day.
All right. Cool, man.
It's just another opportunity to do something good.
Yeah.
With somebody, for somebody, to somebody.
Awesome.
Simple things make me happy. My mom used to say, simple things for simple people, I guess.
I don't think you need any patience, man. I think you're okay. All right. So are you on social media? Like, are you on Twitter or are you on Facebook?
I'm on Facebook.
Okay. Normally I ask the guests, how can people get a hold of them if they wanted to? In other words, if they listen to the show and they're like, man, I really like this Walter guy and I'd love to, talk to him about his time travel back to the days of Christ a little more, how could they get a hold of you? I guess, what do you think?
Maybe put it in part two. Maybe we'll do it in part two if you like to have me on as a guest
Yeah,
again
we'll do
sometime.
that, man. We'll do that. We'll plan on that. Okay. Very good. That wraps it up. I appreciate you being on, and
Well, thanks for having me. I've enjoyed the discussion. It was kind of wow.
yeah, it's been a
I hope
pleasure.
some people pick up some stuff from it, and maybe some of them feel the same way and can just be pointing their finger at the radio or whatever they're listening to us on, and yeah, that's it. That guy, I'm not crazy. He's crazy too. If I'm crazy, he's crazy too. Yeah.
Then it's okay to be crazy.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right. Normally around this time, Walter, what I like to do is I've got this quick, short segment that I call random thoughts. How do you give something your attention? You face it. That's it. Till next time. If you have questions that you'd like to ask any of our guests, DM us at pearls_2swine on X, or send us an email at pearls@pearlsoswine.com. Oh, almost forgot. Nothing, and I mean nothing, on this show should be taken as absolute truth. Don't be afraid to question everything. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Every time you ask me about my brain pain, I tell you, take me to that place that we used to do. Every time you ask me about my brain pain, I tell you, take me to that place that we used to do.